Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We are in the book of Numbers, the Old Testament, chapter 16, verses 1 through 19. Now, there's these guys, Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, and Korah is a Levite. He's part of that special group, but the other two are part of the Reubenites, and it says they are insolent against Moses. They are disrespectful. They are bold and brazen to say, you know what? What makes you any better than us? And what's interesting is we hear that they are part of a council of leaders. And in fact, they get 250 other community leaders to be on their side. Now, all these 250 folks, men, they were well-known leaders, and they were all appointed members of a council, a democratic council that represented, it was representative government, that represented all the people and the tribes and families, right? But there's a limit to democracy, and God is he's not up for a vote, right? And God's will is not up for a vote. And so Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, they confront Moses and Aaron. They said, you've gone too far. You exalt yourselves. You lift yourselves up. And he says, and he also goes on to say, everyone else here, we're holy too. But it comes out later on that they're accused of financial misappropriation, that that they're accusing Aaron and Moses of taking goods that don't belong to them. And Moses says, we have not done that. Dathan, Korah, and Abiram and the 250 other leaders, they all said, hey, you know what? You're not any more holy than us. And they're right. They're not. And he says, the Lord is all among us, amongst all of us. And they're right. That's true. But not all of them were called like Moses. Not all of them had a burning bush experience. None of them were called like Aaron was called. And Moses falls on his face before the Lord and before them. And he says, the Lord tomorrow will convey who is his appointed leader and who is allowed to approach him. Because what is required to approach God is that God calls you to him. And there's a humility there. And the very fact that these leaders are brazen and bold doesn't speak well of their humility. And that's exactly what he says. He says, you Levites have gone too far. God had called you to a special position. He separated you. He allowed you to approach his tabernacle, to stand before the congregation, to serve all of them. And yet that's not enough. You want something more. You want the priesthood. And so Moses asked to meet with Nathan and Abiram. And he says, they won't even talk to him. He says, you brought us to a land of milk, and you brought us out of a land of milk and honey. Now, again, one of the things to listen for in this book is when people are saying silly things. They were in Egypt. They were in slavery. God was taking them to a land of milk and honey. But they said, no, you just led us out here to die in the wilderness. And he says, you lord it over us. You have not given us the windfall of fields and vineyards that we think we're owed. And Moses is very hurt. And because he's very hurt, he's very angry, right? And he prays the Lord, don't accept their offering, because I have not done any harm to them. I've been faithful to you. And so he says, next day, each man, bring your censer, and we'll see what God does. Well, thanks, friends. Have a blessed day.